The restaurant fell silent the moment he spoke, not because anyone understood him, but because of the way he looked at her. A Japanese billionaire CEO sitting at the center table, slowly ordering in a foreign language, watching a black waitress struggle as quiet laughter spread across the room. She felt it, the judgment, the humiliation, the weight of every eye on her. This wasn't just a mistake, it felt intentional, like a test, like a message. But what no one expected was her response, because in the next few seconds, everything would change, and the man who thought he had all the power would realize he picked the wrong person to break. The real question is, what did she say that left the entire room speechless?
It was just another long shift for her, the kind where your feet ache, but you still force a smile, because that's the job. She had been working at that upscale restaurant for months now, learning how to move fast, stay polite, and never let a customer see her tired. Most people didn't notice her, and honestly, she preferred it that way. Less attention meant fewer problems, fewer moments where she had to second-guess the way someone looked at her or the tone behind their voice. But tonight felt different. The restaurant was busier than usual, filled with wealthy guests and quiet conversations that carried a certain kind of pressure. That's when she heard it, a table request that didn't sound normal. A man speaking in a language she couldn't understand, yet somehow making sure all eyes turned toward her. At first, she thought it was just confusion, maybe a misunderstanding, but then she noticed the way he watched her struggle and the faint smirks spreading across the table. And in that moment, she realized this wasn't an accident.
At first, she tried to handle it the way she handled everything, calm, professional, unshaken. She leaned in slightly, her voice steady, politely asking him to repeat his order. But he didn't. Instead, he spoke again, slower this time, louder, each word deliberate, not to help her understand, but to make sure everyone else noticed that she couldn't. A few people nearby began to turn their heads, forks paused mid-air, conversations faded into whispers. She felt it building. Her chest tightened as she tried again, this time pointing gently to the menu, offering options, giving him a way out, an easy path to end this quietly. But he ignored it completely. Instead, he leaned back in his chair, a faint smile forming, and repeated the same phrase again and again. Each time, the laughter at his table grew just a little louder. That's when it hit her. This wasn't confusion, this wasn't a language barrier. This was a performance, and she was the punchline. For a split second, she considered stepping away, calling a manager, letting someone else deal with it. But something stopped her. Maybe it was the way the entire room had gone still, or the way every eye now seemed fixed on her, waiting to see what she would do next. Because walking away wouldn't just end the moment, it would confirm it. So she stayed. Her hands tightened slightly around the notepad, but her face remained calm, controlled. She took a slow breath, forcing herself to think past the noise, past the laughter, past the heat rising in her chest. Then he did something that shifted everything. He turned to the others at his table and said something quick, sharp. This time, they all laughed openly, not quietly, not politely, openly. One of them even glanced at her, shaking his head as if she had failed some invisible test. And just like that, the humiliation wasn't subtle anymore. It was loud, public, unavoidable. She could feel her pulse in her ears now, the weight of the moment pressing down harder with every second. But beneath the embarrassment, something else was rising, something steadier, stronger. Because the more he repeated those words, the more she started to recognize patterns, small ones, the rhythm, the tone, the intent behind them. And suddenly, what once sounded unfamiliar didn't feel so confusing anymore. Her expression didn't change, not yet, but inside, something had shifted. Because now, she wasn't just listening, she was understanding. And what she realized in that moment, changed everything.
The room felt heavier now. Every second stretched longer than it should. The laughter had faded, replaced by something quieter. Expectation. She looked at him, really looked this time. The confidence in his posture, the certainty that he controlled this moment, that she would stumble again. For a brief second, her fingers tightened around the notepad. Then, she let it go. Slowly, she lifted her head, and when she spoke, it wasn't hesitant anymore. It was clear, fluent. She repeated his exact words back to him, in the same language, perfectly. The effect was instant. The smirk on his face disappeared. His body stiffened, like he hadn't heard correctly. Around him, the table went silent, completely silent. But she didn't stop. This time, her voice carried just enough for the nearby tables to hear. Calm, controlled, but sharp. She translated what he had been saying all along. Every word, every hidden insult, every quiet attempt to break her in front of a room full of strangers. A ripple moved through the restaurant. People turned fully now. Conversations stopped. The weight of what had just been exposed settled over everyone at once. And for the first time since this started, he looked unsure. She took one step back, meeting his eyes, not with anger, not with fear, but with something far more unsettling: confidence. Because now the spotlight wasn't on her anymore, it was on him. The man who thought no one would understand had just been understood by everyone. And as the silence closed in around his table, thicker than before, one question hung in the air. What does a man do when the power he abused is suddenly taken away from him?
For a moment, no one moved. The weight of the truth hung in the air, pressing down on every table, every whisper, every pair of eyes now fixed on him. The man who had walked in with absolute control now sat frozen in it. He tried to speak, quietly at first, then more firmly, but the words didn't carry the same power anymore. Because now people understood. And once people understand, silence is no longer comfortable. It becomes judgment. One by one, the attention around him shifted, not with laughter this time, but with quiet disapproval, the kind that doesn't need words to be felt. She didn't wait for an apology. She didn't need one. With the same calm strength she had held on to through it all, she simply placed the menu back on the table, turned, and walked away. Not rushed, not shaken, just steady. And in that moment, something changed, not just for her, but for everyone watching. Because what started as an attempt to humiliate her became a mirror, a reflection of something far deeper than one man's actions. It exposed how easily disrespect hides behind power, behind language, behind the belief that no one will speak up. But she did. And that's what stayed with people long after that night ended. Not the insult, not the laughter, her courage. Because racism doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it hides in moments people think will go unnoticed. The question is, what happens when those moments are finally seen for what they are? And more importantly, when it's your turn to witness it, will you stay silent or will you speak?